Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And I'm very sorry that I took a very long break. I'd just been very busy learning and getting myself engaged in a whole lot of projects. And today I'm going to show you how tiny tweaks can have a massive impact on your color grading in DaVinci Resolve. Whether you are new to grading or you are looking to sharpen your skills in DaVinci Resolve, these subtle changes can take your footage from okay to wow. And that's just the way I have seen my color grading in the past months. So stick around because I'll be revealing the secret pros used to create stunning cinematic looks with just minimal effort. So let's get started. We'll be using 3 clips actually for today's tutorial. So the first one is what I shot in the studio. This is the workflow, and then this was my final result, and this is another video as well. In fact, I had 2 look for this. This is one and this is the other, but for this I feel like the color is splashing too much, so that was why I chose to stay on this. And the reason why the blue is peeling is just because that is the most the colors that is well accentuating the video. And then lastly, we'll be sitting on this image, so which is a group of girls with different tones. So I'm not even sure I spent up to 5 minutes color grading one of this image. So let's dive right into it. So this was shot on FX3, this was shot on FX3 as well, and this is the flat file before and then after, and this was shot on Sony A7 III. That's to tell you that regardless of whatever camera you are using, you can always get amazing results. It is not, of course, camera matters a whole lot, but you can just make some little adjustments, some little tweaks, and then you can get a huge impact in your color grading. So the first thing that I'll be doing right now, that I'll be explaining for us, is let me deactivate all my nodes. All right, let me look for a power frame. Okay, I think I like this frame. So the first thing I did was I would even remove this denoiser because I don't even use this at all. Let me create a new node before which is going to be my first node, and I will just swap it. You can do that by holding Command or Control on your keyboard. I just bought a new plugin, reduce noise version 5. You might want to try it out. It is very great, more than what we normally would do in DaVinci Resolve by coming to the side to do your spatial, your temporal, all of those things. And I'm using the Resolve 19, which means it would help you to do a whole lot. So first thing I did was to bring my CST notes down here. I converted it from a log footage into Rec 709. And if you're checking my if you're coming to my color management settings, I'm just on DaVinci YRB Rec 709, same as timeline. I always leave all of this on default because personally they work for me and I enjoy them. So if I'm to be doing a project that is larger, I might want to try some other color management space. I've seen tutorials on ACE, all of these other settings, but for now let's stay on this. So after I converted it, which is just the normal process that you would do, and then denoise, I'll come back to this denoise. Then I do my normal contrast, just the way that it feels right to, let me move to my, just the way that it feels right to you. And this this top is where you are seeing all this, the brightest part of the image, which is your highlights, as you can see here. I even later worked on the sky because it is just overexposed. So I did my just basic corrections because I do not even want the shadows to be crushing. So let me see if I can reduce this highlight down a bit. Okay, that looks fine. And then the next thing I did was just to do my skin, which is actually very hot and which is always very basic to do. And thank God for DaVinci Resolve 19. You now have an option, color slice, whereby you can even just come to your, I did not even use this, but I think I would love to work on it while I'm working on this. Color slice is new to DaVinci Resolve 19, and it is just like you are splitting your color wheel, you are splitting it into slices, and you'll be able to touch every part of your image. You can choose to increase your red, you can work on skin only, and then you have your yellow slice, you have your green slice, and the most interesting thing is it has hue and saturation, whereby you can control the density of your image, which is very 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 important for every project. So this is my skin node now, and this is what we did before and then after. So let me show you what I did. Like I said, this is not a new project. I did it for should be like 2 months ago. And you select your node after you've selected your node properly, and then I think we did it under log wheel, just to, you can use your vectorscope to always monitor this, so you can see their skin is falling on the right part that you want them to be, so which I love already. And then I push my midtones to orange and red, then my shadow is somewhere around here. And to always enhance, if you want to enhance your skin, you can always come here to work on it as well. Let's see, look at the impact it gives, and you can just reset it. So if you want any other extra thing to be done, you can just increase the saturation. That's if you really want the skin to be popped, and then you can now control the density. Look at how creamy it is now. This might be what you want to do, and this might not be. So I think let's see what we can do. You can, it just helps you to control how bright or how dark your image is, which is what works a whole lot, which is density. They call it density. It makes your color to have it pops in a way that is quite different from, you can see the huge difference that I have just been able to make with just this color slice. So if you're still using 18, 17 and the rest, any lower version, I would just advise you to just upgrade your DaVinci Resolve to 19 because of this color slice. It is very very important. Look at it. And even if you want to work on every other colors, but because I have used my qualifier to select this plat, because this is just the only thing I'm working on here, so that's to tell you how powerful or what you can do with just your skin node here. Let me undo. Look at it. Look at the impact I have been able to make without doing just so much. I use this to restore the sky. You can see what the sky looks like before and then after. I was able to recover the highlight. So let me show you what I did. This is my offset. I just pushed it towards the blue so that I can get that feel that I want. In fact, you can even still enhance it if you want it to be stronger. You can pull your gain as well too, and then maybe now reduce the strength of the same node, and you are just fine on cloud. And if I'm zooming in, maybe you just need to, this is the window that I use in creating a window panel around it, and you want to ensure that it is very very soft. That was what I did, so that you won't be having sharpened edges. Those are just the little corrections that I made on this that makes this image to be very very great. So the next node that I have is just I created another node which gave me a vignette, which I used for vignette. So you can see what it looks like with and then without, before and then after. This is the outside node for this node, and you create your outside node by came here. I created a node with my power window, and then I came here, I created an outside node which is just an invert of what is already in your inside node, and then here I just reduce the impact of it so that I can have my subject standing out. And then the next thing I did is the balance node, which I really am not even sure, because when I sent it to them with this, they felt they weren't popping enough. They felt they were not popping enough, so I needed to come back to post, and then I added it back. So depending on your preference, and just the way I do it is just by coming to balance. I created another node entirely, and then I named it as color balance. So I came to my hue versus saturation, and then I brought my red down carefully. So this may be what you want, and if you don't want, you can just uncheck it, but I will leave it this way because that was what the client wants, that was their priority. So then I made another node, which is, I did a whole lot of work here, so which is hue versus hue curve, hue versus luminance, luminance versus sat. So, and I did everything here. You can look at it before and then after. So these are just a little thing that I think I learned, that when your color is not having, I think I would be reducing the impact of the skin node, or let me come to this slice and see what I can do. Let me increase the luminance a bit. Okay, so let me come to my node 9. You can see before and then after, before after. You can see how best all these colors, because most times you just come to DaVinci Resolve and you only want to focus on skin, you want to focus on how bright, you know, your contrast and all of those things. Yeah, it is always very fine, but there is just always more. So this node, I particularly use it to focus on the dress. So when I was working on my, I think I will love it as capital letter. So when I was working on the dresses, I came to my hue curves and then I started first. I selected my green, you know, I pushed the hue down so that it can, you know, give me better colors. Like I said, this is, you know, what it looks like before and after. You can see the big change that we can make with just little nodes. So I brought back I gave all my colors life, all the clothes that they were wearing. I ensured that it was not too bright, it is not too, you know, strong. This is hue versus saturation. This is, you know, hue. This is hue versus luminance. That is how bright, just like what we did with this skin node under the color slice. You can use color slice for this as well, actually. So this next node, I'm not sure I wanted to do anything there. It is just an empty node, so I'm going to, you know, delete it. And this is my gray node. It is just priority. If you feel like the strength is too much, just reduce it if this works for you. This is without grain and this is it with grain, so which I really love. And you know, next thing you just want to do is, I added halation. Why did I add it? It's just for efficiency, because there is really no rare thing that is very strong that I need it for. You know, just wanted it, and it is the same node, that I use in calming this pink on what she is holding down. And even if you want it to really pop, you can just come to your hue versus sat. You can come to your hue versus sat and then select this range of this pulse that she's holding, and then you can play around it to see. Can you see? So if I want it to really pop, but of course that is not the major thing that I want, and this is too much actually. I'm just doing it so that you could see. And if you think to always ensure that it is well selected, I always would advise that you spread these two arms. Don't do it manually, because while you are doing it manually, can you see that I'm changing so many things? So I would undo it, and then I will just tap on this point, and then I will spread it so it can blend really well. That is if that is your priority. And if you think that no, I don't want it this way, I want the colors to be calm, so you know, it is going to give you density. I think personally I prefer it this way. So next node is grain. This is halation. That's halation, and this is my CST, and that's just how I, you know, color graded this particular video. So I'll be moving to the next. You should always remember that there are so many things in your frame, but the only thing that matters most in your frame is, you know, your subject. So this is a flat profile that was shared with me, and after color grading you can see how far we've been able to come. There was really no key light on this subject. How wedding can be actually. I would deactivate all these nodes so that we can, do a walkthrough with them and then see how far we have come. So this was my first node, which is my noise node, and maybe I will just be doing this noise node generally. I'll do it in my pre-clip so that it can work on every group. And then the next thing I did was to do my color balance. So after I adjusted everything, you can see how the waveform information is looking like. So, and then I went straight to a skin. It gave me a whole lot of issues the day I was working on it, but I think in a way we can work on it better than what was done that time. This particular frame has other colors. Yeah, so this was what we did, and I just ensured that the softness is strong so that it is not affecting all those areas too much. And then the next thing I did here was to the DCTL that I said I didn't later work on. I wanted to use it for the colors. So the next thing I did was to stand our subject out. I relight, like I increased the light that is on our subject before and after. And then I made an outside node for the vignette, just like what we did the other time. If I am not making a vignette on every other distraction that I am having in this frame, I would just do a vignette that would make the focus to just be here only. So if you're seeing this image, two things comes to your head first, maybe this light and then my subject. So that was what I did. In fact, you can still make extra node if you feel like this particular subject is not bright enough, and you can just come to your gamma, lift your gamma up a bit more to your taste. And I think this vignetting is doing a whole lot. It's keeping our eyes, our head off, and the black is not so strong, as you can see. It is not really dark as much as whatever you might think. It is not crushing. I can still say, oh, that's a chair, that's a table. And the next thing I did was to work on our the red on her skin. I reduced it down a bit so that she can maintain her color tone. So I wanted to use this to calm the grade, but I just felt I would rather leave it warm. So, and then I added grain. This node was for elation, and then I used this to make a density on the cloth. You can see what it looks like before and after. And if you feel like the blue has fallen away from what originally it is meant to be, you can come down to your custom curves, go to your hue versus hue, and then push it towards teal. So now before and then after. So let me see what our color slice can do for us. That's meant to be cyan, right? Okay, I think I pretty love this, before and after. So meanwhile, if you're just staying on converting to Rec 709, and then you are converting to Rec 709, you are doing your skin, tone, after doing your skin tone, and the next thing you want to do is just to export. There is just little thing that you could do, especially with DaVinci Resolve 19. So you can see how this cyan really helped us. So let me see what the luminance can do for us. Look at it. But now this is too blue. Before and after. So those are just the little tweak that you could do in DaVinci Resolve, and will help your image a whole lot. So that's just all I did to this particular image. So before and then after. So I think you are learning something, and this particular project is what you might have been waiting for. This is one of the most complicated nodes I have ever made in my entire life. I don't even know. Okay, I think I used it for an a raw file that was shared with me. Yeah, I used it for this particular image. I was just creating notes, and finally I arrived at this image. This is before, and this is after. You can see my density, you can see my colors, you can see how the subject is really standing out away from I think this is one of my most preferred nodes, and I made 2 CST nodes for this project for just few reasons actually. So let's run through this and then we'll bring this class to an end. Don't forget that you can always drop questions in the comment section, and you can always send me a mail if you have some things, if you have a project to send to me across, or things that you feel like you are not clear about, or you've got a project for me to color grade for you. So slog2. So this is my input for the first CST, and then another node entirely for my CST. In fact, I did this first on my post before I finally felt, since I just created this timeline solely for this class, I would just rather work here. So let's walk through it. So this was for my let me uncheck all the nodes. Now when you are seeing nodes that are this strong, I will just tell you to be very, very calm, because it has nothing to do about it is too much. If I was told that I'll be building a node tree that is as strong as this, I would never have agreed. So the first thing I did was to do my CST. I kept one in and then I kept one out. So next I did was my, let me uncheck everything. Okay, so you can do that by selecting them and then pressing Ctrl D. So this was my first node. Like I said, it's the impact would not be very, very strong if you're doing this, converting to DaVinci white gamut from slog2. So the next thing I did was to do my primary correction, and since I could just make this in advance, so I made an outside node and I left it. This is what our Rec 709 would have been. To any other person, another person could have just been satisfied with this and then we will export. Fine, that's just what we had on set. So I did my primary color balance, and then white balance was not really needed, saturation node was not needed. I came here to do my contrast. You can see the work that my contrast did for me, and it's just as simple. Just come into your custom curves. I think I made yes I brought my highlight down. This is my shadow, and then I made spline, which you can always do here by adding your editable splines. It really helps your S-curve to be very, very, very neat. And then I brought my highlight down. So I used this for that to get my highlight in shape. And then the next thing I did here was my hue. This might be scary now, so you already know where to do that. I explained it in the previous video. I did a whole lot of work in my hue versus sat, hue versus hue, hue versus luminous, and this was where I brought this color to really, really be calm. And I think I made another node for hue. We are going to get there very soon. So then this node was for my skin, and then I made another node for foliage, which is to still enhance the same skin. All of these nodes are parallel nodes. You can always make them by yourself. This was what I used to bring back the beauty in the dress. So I used my color whopper, I locked these two down, and then I brought it down. Like I said, any other person would have been satisfied at that stage, but you can always do extra just to enhance the beauty in your project. So I use this to enhance this pink that we are having at this background here, and so that's the progress that we have been making so far. This was for my mood. In my, unless I forget, here I did little adjustments here as well. I brought, I used this to saturate this. I uncheck my preserve luminance, and then I increase my green output. So that is what I usually would use for saturation if you do not want to affect everything. If you don't want to use your normal saturation here, so what I usually would do would just be to uncheck my preserve luminance, and then I would increase my green output. So then my color wrapper here, and then I use this as well to just select the color. Yeah, so that is why if I'm checking my highlights, you would only be seeing the dress. So which I did with parallel node, and then this was the next node just to get this pink color here, and then I worked on the hue versus hue because it was really not giving me that color I want. So I just needed to pull this pink down a bit so that it can complement what she's wearing here. So, and then I did a little trim of adjustment on the same background, and that was how we arrived here. Every other thing that is here, I'm not really even sure I used them for this particular. I added glow, and then my hue versus sat curve, and basically that's just all that we did on this project. And that's just to tell you, just by paying more attention to your clips, because everything that is there really matters, you can do a whole lot, not just staying at that basic level. So this is our first grade, our second grade, and then the last grade. So which I think, for me personally, I love them. So let me know what your opinion is in the comment section, if you would be trying this out, or if you think that the formula I use is too complicating. So, and of course my power grades are always available for for sale. Well, maybe for giveaway or for sale, I'm not so sure yet, but just exercise all of these little things out. And lastly, not to just for my timeline, for that noise 3 that I told us about. So I'll be using this to actually work on that. Let's use this to create a new node, and then I would drop that reduce noise. It's a paid plugin. So drag and drop this on the timeline clip, and then you tap on prepare noise while it prepares the noise profile. So I'll click on progressive, and then I would zoom it close to see the best place I can get noise from this image. So we can I can see little noise here. So I will just drop a shape here to really ensure that it is on green and not on yellow, so it can, and then don't drag and drop it on skin. It will just in a way work on it anyhow, in a way that you would not love. So this is the noise level that it is reading here. Then I'll come to build profile, then you come to adjust and preview. So I would not be doing so much because I'm not making this tutorial entirely for them. It's just for you, and this is for a paid plugin, and if you are not using a paid plugin, you can always do it manually with whatever you can see before and after. So you can always do it manually as well. If you don't have that paid plugin, you can come to the same node, switch from your timeline back to your clip, and then let's do that on our first node. I'll use Shift S to make another node, and then you can come to your motion effects, change this, change that, and that will just get you there. And in case you have not seen a video you don't know how to do it manually from your motion effects, just check my previous video. I will leave a link in the description to where you can check all of those videos. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and that's it. Sometimes it is the smallest adjustment that makes the biggest difference. If you have found this helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more DaVinci Resolve tips, and let me know in the comment section which tweak you are going to try out first. And until next time, keep creating, keep coloring, and keep getting better, and until your grade gets to the next level, I'm not sure you should stop. So thank you so much. I'm Jidefilms, and if you are new entirely to DaVinci Resolve, I would recommend that you watch these 2 videos showing right now on your timeline. Thank you, and see you some other time.